We are a group of 3 researchers from Portugal and Belgium, currently investigating the user's experience of shaded spaces, aiming health promotion, mitigation and adaptation to climate change. In this communication we present a study, integrated in our research multisensory loggia. In urban housing, loggia spaces, such as covered balconies, have been developed by architects and urban planners, through several experiences, identifiable in the historical evolution of cities. Citizens in their homes often have obsolete balconies, too narrow, noisy, windy, or unsafe. However, carefully designed loggia spaces have the environmental potential of climate moderation, reducing energy consumption related to cooling and heating of indoor spaces. Furthermore, in epidemic emergencies, requiring prophylactic isolation, the loggia may provide an outdoor alternative to the public space, contributing to people's health and well-being, aiming to improve spatial justice, urban resilience to situations of climate change and epidemic emergencies. We focus this study on a preliminary definition of the spatial qualities of a private loggia in urban housing that is applicable to new and existing buildings. Furthermore, the housing experience of confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic revealed the spatial injustice that many citizens were subjected to due to the absence of private outdoor spaces in their homes. Specifically, we approach 2 loggia types, namely, the open loggia, as shown in the figure on the left, and the glazed loggia as shown on the right. The environmental performance of the loggia has been studied widely in literature. We highlight the research of Sinawi Steamers 2004 that studied thermal performance of urban loggia spaces in northern and southern Europe, finding that cooler conditions during summer and warmer conditions during winter can be experienced by users in both of these contrasting climate regions. Much less studied, by contrast, is its social performance, integrating changing demands that are inherent to the current lifestyles of the diversity of users. In this context we highlight 2 exploratory studies on qualitative research approaching the loggia space. Autricht & Co. 2019 analyses the materiality and social functioning of balconies and open loggia spaces integrated in the Julius Slowacki housing estate in Poland, and finds methods and techniques complementary to the interview process. Moreover, this study revealed the potential of the open loggia as a space of social interaction with the neighborhood. Fernandez 2016 studied the post-occupancy phenomena of conversion of open loggias into glazed ones, conducting interviews in the Lisbon neighborhood of Campo de Ourique in Portugal and concluding that the lack of indoor space is what motivated inhabitants to do this change. Furthermore, this study revealed the potential of the glazed loggia as a protective threshold to unpleasant outdoor environments. Qualitative research methods like photo-ethnography, participant observation and interviews have been used in an exploratory approach, bridging the gap between scientific fields. We interviewed experts in anthropology, bioclimatic architecture, ecological economics, environmental psychology, human kinetics, inclusive design, landscape architecture, public health and urban planning, to increase information diversity. Pertinent to approaching the complexity of the phenomena under study, we interviewed 12 citizens of different ages and abilities, with and without physical or sensory impairments. Due to the pandemic situation, all the interviews were carried out remotely. The expert on anthropology states the importance of rethinking the size of loggia spaces to allow for uses related to social, family and work activities. An 80-year-old woman uses both her loggia spaces, open and glazed, for gardening. Moreover, a glazed one was used by her husband for oil painting, and another glazed one is used as a laundry space. The expert on landscape architecture stated that an investment that we should make in the context of increasing resilience, or being more prepared for what climate change may be, is to invest in trees in the urban space. Regarding design requirements for a loggia space, she pointed out the importance of the possibility to have views to the outside, careful sun orientation and spaciousness to allow gardening and social activity, mentioning it is not just looking at nature that is outside the balcony, but it is bringing nature into the balcony. To use public outdoor space during pandemic time, mainly in spaces that require the use of a mask, is very difficult for a 36-year-old quadriplegic woman due to her respiratory problems. Therefore, her open loggia, on the ground floor, connected with a backyard, is the area of her apartment that she enjoyed the most during the pandemic situation. She uses this space for meals and mentioned, "I have the flowers there and I can hear the sound of nature as the buildings are not very noisy. We can hear the birds." Regarding pandemic occurrences, the expert on public health pointed out the importance of a loggia during periods of confinement, mentioning that an outdoor space with seating and with a view of the surrounding area may reduce the risks relating to mental health problems. Regarding the spaciousness of a loggia, she pointed out its importance of allowing some physical exercise. However, she also alerted that some exercise equipment may offer a chance for children to reach the fencing's top, increasing the risk of fall. The expert on human kinetics pointed out that children are free to explore the space and can test their motor skills as they develop. She states the importance that architecture needs to consider the risk regarding behavior of children. Furthermore, she mentions that even in well-designed balcony fencing, the surrounding furniture may allow access to the top edge. The expert on bioclimatic architecture pointed out the importance of understanding the local climates to reduce energy consumption and allow less greenhouse gas emissions. He mentions that a loggia space needs to be designed to allow a passive performance of indoor spaces. For him, an excellent solution is to have blinds to give shade and allow views to the outside for the users inside the loggia. A 50-year-old woman with dwarfism only uses her glazed loggia as a storage area. She mentions, "I don't reach the windows. I have to put myself on top of a bench to reach the window handle." Regarding usability of shading devices such as blinds to regulate the comfort in the loggia space, the expert on inclusive design stated the potential of domotics so that you can push a button and you can close the shade or open the shade, mentioning that this solution may mitigate difficulties in the use. Sometimes the most difficult part is to move these shading devices, because they are so heavy or because they are in a place in such a way that they are hard to reach. A 53-year-old deaf man mentioned that what he likes the most in his open loggia is watching the people greeting people. "I also like the plants. The worst thing is the smoke from cars." Regarding visibility, the expert on environmental psychology mentioned, quote, "From a social point of view, I think that sometimes balconies are positioned in places and in ways that make them very exposed." She pointed out the potential of private outdoor spaces for social interaction. She mentioned that during the pandemic confinement she observed a friendship growing between neighbors that were talking to each other from their own outdoor private space. A 9-year-old child with severe visual impairment mentioned that she uses her open loggia during confinement for music classes, stating, "I play the clarinet and I like to play outside because I am feeling a little breeze." However, for her this space is not completely comfortable, mentioning, "Sometimes I don't like it because I am afraid my laptop will be stolen." The expert on urban planning stated that in main avenues, due to privacy reasons, residential loggia spaces may not be used for meals, not only because they are unpleasant as a result of the traffic noises, but also that they may be visually exposed to the neighborhood. Furthermore, she mentioned that town planning, specifically through local regulation, may consider this requirement of privacy to improve urban resilience. The expert on ecological economics states the importance of avoiding the non-functional, excessive space in a loggia, mentioning that we need to consider a disproportional allocation of natural resources. We share the pandemic experience of the first author, a blind person that used his glazed loggia in order to maintain his health and well-being during the pandemic. He lives in an apartment in a busy street of Lisbon, with narrow sidewalks, and faced the impossibility of using the public space autonomously because his visual absence meant he could not guarantee social distancing. Due to his specific condition of blindness without light perception, the loggia allowed him to perceive the daily rhythms through his tactile experience of sunlight. Therefore, he used this small space daily, during 2 work breaks, in the morning and the afternoon, for more than 1 year. This loggia space is located in a corner of his apartment, facing southeast and southwest solar exposure. It is closed with fixed glass panels, sliding windows and outdoor blinds. He only used this narrow space to read audiobooks, listen to music or talk on the phone. According to his experience, if the loggia is not glazed, it will only be used during summer, because it is very windy. During summertime, the glazed areas are open and outdoor blinds are shading the loggia space. In the winter, the outdoor blinds are used less and the windows are only open for ventilation. Regarding thermal comfort, The indoor areas of his apartment connected to the loggia are the warmest in winter and the coolest in summer. Moreover, its location in the backyard is an important quality regarding hearing experience, because it is quiet and there are sounds of birds coming from a few existing trees. The online picture collection revealed different uses of the residential open loggia during the COVID-19 pandemic. We found several pictures of social interaction between loggia spaces. In a picture by Emilio Morinati, taken in Barcelona, two neighbors are talking. Each one is located in its own loggia, allowing the safety of social distancing. Moreover, we found several pictures of people using their loggia for physical activity. In a picture by Remo Casilli, taken in Rome, a gym class is performed within two buildings that are opposite to each other. In the first one, the trainer is in a loggia, and in the second building, several trainees are situated in their own loggia space, allowing for social distancing and group interaction without the risk of infection of COVID-19. We found several pictures of meals in loggia spaces. They don't change too much, being represented in a picture by Kathy Willans, taken in a residential loggia in New York, where it is possible to see two persons eating together seating around a table, with their upper body shaded by the loggia space. Furthermore, we found several pictures of people using their own loggia for musical performances. In a picture by Paul Kupczynski, taken in Berlin, a violin is played in a loggia to raise the public morale in the first confinement of the COVID-19 pandemic. The results revealed that the loggia is an important spatial component in housing, promoting, both in the open and glazed types, a greater relationship with the outdoor environment. These findings are in line with the approach to the glazed loggia of Fernandez 2016. They are also in line with Otrashchenko 2019 regarding balconies and the open loggia. However, there were differences in qualitative research methods used in the aforementioned studies. Instead of interviewing people of a selected neighborhood, we started by selecting a sample of people to interview, connecting the experiences of users and experts from different fields. It was possible to understand that safety and sensory comfort are key qualities to approach in this problematic. Beyond the potential of the loggia in preventive health during pandemic confinement, there is the risk of fall for children due to the temporary presence of spatial components that compromise the performance of well-designed balcony fencing. Therefore, a solution of fixed furniture and equipment, taking into account children's behavior and affordances, may contribute to the safety of loggia spaces. Regarding sensory comfort, a combination of the open and glazed types in a convertible loggia may allow a regulation of tactile comfort of the protection to the wind or sun exposure. Moreover, a convertible loggia type may contribute to the regulation of visibility and privacy. Furthermore, the urban planning of loggia spaces and quiet backyards with trees, instead of open loggia spaces in busy streets, may promote its use. The insights gained revealed the need for loggia spaces to be designed considering local climate, rationally dimensioned, spacious enough to guarantee inclusive use, and with privacy regulation for physical exercise and social interaction with the neighborhood. A premise of our research was spatial justice. Therefore, we tried to ensure our interviewee sample included a wide range of human diversity. Unfortunately, the pandemic situation increased the difficulty of interviewing people with behavior differences and cognitive impairments. We plan to include this group of users in future research. We are grateful to all of our interviewees. Also, we acknowledge all people and institutions involved in the sample preparation and for the visual assistance to the first author. This research was supported by Instituto Superior Técnico of University of Lisbon and by the Foundation for Science and Technology, with joint funding from Portugal and the European Union.